Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome back to Let's Play Streets of Rage for the Genesis and Mega Drive with Adam. We are now on round 7, which is the fabled elevator round. And you're better off just tossing everybody over the wall to the right to even remotely stand a chance. And as easy as I'm making this look, I do put myself in positions where I do end up losing a life or two. Sadly to say. But at least I do my best at making sure everyone goes over that wall. Remember, as Adam, you're not the fastest guy in the world. And you're going to have to let some of the enemies come to you, and you just got to be quick on the draw when it comes to grabbing them. At least that guy jumped over the wall for me, so I didn't have to do any of the work. And I thought I'd be able to toss enemies over the wall there, but I do toss them into each other. And then I glitched that guy over the wall, through the floor with a suplex, which was actually pretty cool. Love doing that. And there's me doing the glitch that I've shown off in both my Axel and Blaze playthroughs, where if a guy's dropping down from the top of the screen and I press the special attack button before he can hit the ground, he lands in nothing because the screen is scrolling down, and therefore he pretty much dies. I wish I had done that a little later, to be honest. It would have been a little more useful there, probably on like the 4th level or 5th. But it's still a very nice glitch to take advantage of. Still a very nice glitch to show off. Yeah, this is where I could have used it. But unfortunately, I forgot that I should never have done it that early. And this is where the enemies start giving me trouble again. Great. And I can't move out of their whips for some reason. It just drives me nuts. Keep getting hit by their whips like 3 or 4 times. That was the 4th stop. There are 5 of them in all. And the 5th one, that's where you're going to meet the tougher enemies. As enemies get tougher, you get the tougher palette swaps of everybody the further up you go. And thankfully, because I died there, I can show off the entirety of the level and kill off a bunch of guys at the same time. So once I kill off these 2 yellow signals and these 3 karate guys, I'll be able to finish off everyone else pretty easily. And I made that look dead simple. And I had that guy do the slide kick for me, just so I could show it off. Because I wanted them to come to me. And I tried to do the suplex glitch again, but I'll settle for a knee. We're now done with round 7. We have just one more round to go. Welcome to round 8, where you go to the left the entire time and you have no super attack, because the police car isn't going to be able to find a way in here even if it tried. So you have no special attacks coming into this area even if you die. You're not going to get one here. At least the game is realistic on that front, but For those of you who do love the special attack, that is a bit terrible. Thankfully, the sequels did away with it and just did the special move thing that Final Fight did. You'll see some of these dinner trays out in the open. Some of them will be empty, others will contain power-ups. Some of them will be just speeding towards you and you'll have to hit them before they hit you. And even then, some of the moving ones will have power-ups in them as well. I didn't want to pick that bottle up, but the game pretty much gave me no choice. And I just could not even move there for some reason. That's too bad. That apple would have been a great help even if it didn't refill all of my health. And now we're dealing with these purple guys again. Thanks to the fact that I have a pipe or some sort of weapon that I can swing like a baseball bat, I can finish these guys off. And I just now realized that according to the manual, the Japanese manual, this guy's name is Antonio, and also according to the manual, he placed 3rd in the World Boomerang Throwing Competition. He comes here in green this time around, but he's just as easy to finish off this time around. As a matter of fact, you'll see pilot swaps of all the bosses thus far, the ones that don't repeat in any way. So you get round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, and round 5's bosses before you finally go to the final battle. And just like the elevator for round 7, the further you go, the tougher the enemies are going to get, and the more numerous they're going to be as well. I'm already meeting the round 6 palette swaps already, and we've only fought one boss. And thankfully, I was able to take care of that juggler with the pipe. He's a lot harder to deal with if you play as Adam, and managed to do a really neat jump kick right there, which allowed me to hit that guy and also hit the rolling dinner tray, whatever it is that it's actually called, at the same time. And now we're going to meet the boss from round 2, and he looks a lot like Adam. Matter of fact, he could probably pass for like a cross between one of the Signal enemies and Freddy Krueger. Believe it or not, the round 6 bosses, which is basically 2 of the round 2 bosses, they're supposed to have their own palette swap. They're supposed to be, I believe, red shirt and green overalls, but for some reason the game never loads it, from what I've read. I've mentioned this in the Blaze playthrough as well, and we're now seeing the green signal again. I do like that the outside world transitions from night to day as you go further through the stage. It's a very, very nice touch. It just gives you that hope. It just tells you, hey, you're not that far from the final battle. And we should be facing who I originally thought was the fire guy, but then I realized this guy comes first. And I finish him off pretty much like I do in round 5. I could have done it in round 3 if it weren't for all those flunkies he had. And down he goes. And we now have a new enemy that will only pop up in round 8. It's the guys in the black karate suits, who take even more damage than the ones in the orange ones. The orangish, brownish ones. And these guys show up no matter what difficulty you're on. And it's pretty much daylight at this point. This is actually pretty neat. There should be some more new enemies as we go a little bit further into round 8, and I'll mention them as soon as they show up. Of course, we're probably gonna have to get past another boss before we can do that, but thankfully we know who that boss is. It's the fire-breathing guy, and if you've watched me take him down in round 6, he's just as easy to take down as ever. The best part about the boss rush is that the boss battles don't have any flunkies in them, so you can focus squarely on the bosses and take them down in record time. So here I am, just doing the 2 knees and the 2 vaults. And I finished that guy off in a little more flashier nature than usual because 1, I misjudged how much damage I did to him, and 2, because I wanted to and I didn't care how much damage it would have done. I would have been able to grab him in some way anyway. And we now have the green dominatrix enemies. They wear sea green and gray. And these are the only 2 of their kind in the entire game. They only show up if you're playing on normal and above. If you're playing on easy, they never show up at all. But they're not that much harder, to be honest. You also get the silver and green juggler, who just wears these 2 shades of green and what looks like silver. Again, if you're playing on easy, he never shows up either. It's got to be normal or beyond that you got to play to see him. And this is the only guy of this palette that we fight in the entire game. And he takes even more damage than the jugglers wearing black. Of course, if you're playing as Adam, any juggler can be a pain in the butt. Thankfully, we managed to get rid of the juggler, and it's just down to the rest of the enemies, none of whom are as difficult to deal with as the juggler, except for them. We gotta fight the evil Blaze twins again. I have a little bit more luck here than I did in round 5, at least to some extent. I wish I had maybe boss energy gauges whenever a boss makes like a mini boss-esque appearance. That way I would have had a much better idea of how much more damage I would have to do in order to beat at least one of them. Once you beat one of them, the other one's not that much harder. Matter of fact, once you take one down, it just becomes a lot easier. So here I am trying to get lucky with the jabs, trying to do jump kicks and hoping to do damage. I do lose a few lives in this boss battle here and there. Which kind of stinks, but what can you do when you're playing as the slowest character in the game? There's really not much to talk about here that hasn't already been said, to be honest. I do find it interesting that they have what looks like purple hair at this point. I do like that. And one of them finally goes down, so I should be able to take care of the other one fairly easily. And I managed to grab her. Thought I was going to have to do a vault and then a suplex, but I didn't have to deal that much damage after all. And now we meet Mr. X, who happens to be the leader of the crime syndicate that we've been fighting against all this time. He asks if you want to be his right-hand man. If you select yes with the C button, not start, you get sent back to round 6 and you have to fight your way all the way over here, and then when you make your way back here, you'll have to do the boss battle that we're doing right now. If you select yes, you instantly start the boss battle that we're doing right now. We're going to have to fight 4 of the red Galcias before we can fight this guy proper. And they are pretty aggressive and pretty fast. Sometimes the enemies are aggressive, sometimes they're not. You can kind of tell by how they move what they're going to do. And it's pretty predictable for the most part. And the best part about fighting the boss with Adam, jump kicks actually mean something. Seriously. I can cover a lot of range. I can hit this guy in the knee with a jump kick if I can. There's also a steel pipe in this, pretty much right at Mr. X's feet when you get into this room. And you can use it not only to do a lot of damage against the bosses, not the boss, but the enemies, but also against the boss himself, Mr. X, if you can. I tried to finish this guy off on the last life. I couldn't do it because he managed to ram me with the machine gun right there at the end, and that took my last life away from me. And so I'm now going to have to put in my high score and then continue. You use left and right to switch between the letters. You press C to input a letter. Had a little bit of a hard time doing this, but I eventually figured it out. And then I select continue. And then I just grabbed him and did the 2 knees, and that was the end of it. Wish I did it on the 1 continue. Wish I had done it on the last life. That would have been pretty nice, but you know what? I did better than I expected going in cold, so you know what? I'm just going to take it. I'll just take that. And we put in her name again. Yay! Only 43,200 points from when I did the 2 knees. And there you go. That is me playing Streets of Rage for the Genesis and Mega Drive as Adam. I've already done it as Axel. I've already done it as Blaze. Now I've done it as Adam. Which means I can put this game to bed as far as the channel is concerned for good. I've mentioned how I feel about the game in the other playthroughs. My opinion still stands. This one has definitely stood the test of time. This thing has held up. Controls are very responsive. I love the graphics. I love the sound. I love the soundtrack by Yuzo Koshiro, who had, up until this point, had done the soundtrack for some of the games in the Yi series, or the E series, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And it was based on the popular club music sounds at the time, and it was that kind of music style that he would stick through for the sequels, Streets of Rage 2 and 3. 3 would actually take a more house music approach, as well as do some things that the first 2 games did not do in terms of music. And I would definitely play this again. I mean, I've already played it 3 times for the channel. I'd play it again in my spare time just because, if I was really that bored. It's a great game. I definitely recommend getting it however it is that you can. And that is it for Let's Play Streets of Rage for Genesis and Mega Drive as Adam. Hope you enjoyed my laid-back commentary through this rather laid-back playthrough of the game. Hopefully I'll be back with another game. Don't know what it'll be, don't know how well it will turn out, but it's going to be something. Until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care, stay safe, thanks for watching, and see you guys later!